Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to the XY Spark podcast. This is the podcast for men. This is the podcast where we seek to create a safe space for men to talk about their mental health. This is a safe space, guys, where I just want to help us to recognize that as men, mental health is not a myth. And we are seeking to normalize conversations about mental health so that we can start talking more and more about our mental health so we can break the stamina of the stigma about men's mental health. It is a Friday, TGIF. Some persons may say, thank God it's Friday. Others may say, thank goodness it's Friday. Some persons may say, fry yay. I don't know what you say. I'm not sure what you say where you are at. But whatever it is, I just wanted to say happy Friday to you. I hope that your week has been a prosperous and yet successful week. And I'm happy that you are here. I am your host, your boy, your men's life coach, Rolando. Thank you. I also wanted to just reiterate that right now we are live on YouTube, we are live on TikTok, and we are also live on the podcast on the Podbean app. So if you are where you are right now, I want you to just go to xyspark.podbean.com and just subscribe to the podcast so that you can join in our conversations live as we talk about men's mental health. You know, and so wherever you are, let me say a shout out to you. We are here every weekday morning live at 5:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time until 6 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So wherever you are around the planet, please just put a notification on your devices. I would be more than happy to have you be a part of the conversation. And guys, guess what? The conversation is open for you to participate. Yes, guys, because we do offer live coaching calls right here in the moment. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a thought to share, please feel free to do so. So I'd just like you to type in the chat, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on TikTok or on the Podbean app. I would just like you to type, where are you joining us from this morning? Just want to acknowledge you. Where are you joining us from? And just want to say, if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you'd like to participate in our conversation, please, you are more than welcome to do so. So today, guys, we are going to talk about a beautiful, beautiful thing. Hey, shout out. We have someone who is joining us from Sweden. Shout out to you in Sweden. We are happy to have you. Where you joining us from? You're on TikTok. Just type in the chat where you're joining us from. Are you in Canada, or are you somewhere in Europe? Are you in the Caribbean? Are you in Africa? Just type in the chat. What is in a shout out? I hope you're having great weather in Sweden. Right now, we are in northern Alberta. The weather is about -1, which is pretty awesome because we're coming out of -40, -35, -30. So to have -1 now, it's almost like summer weather. It's almost like summer weather, guys. That's so ironic that we are here saying, hey, it's only -1. It's still freezing point, right? But we're embracing -1 as if it is +20. So yes, guys, so this is our summer weather in the midst of winter. Right? So guys, today we want to have a chat, and we want to have a chat, or our topic today, guys, is mental wellness versus mental fitness. Mental wellness versus mental fitness. And I want to encourage all those who are live on TikTok, guys, please keep those likes coming. Please invite your friends. Guys, I'm telling you, and I keep saying it, I want more of us on this live as men to let more men know that it's time for us to pull together to address our mental health, because our mental health is in a severe state. It needs CPR. But if we're not working together, if we're not teaming up as men to focus on our mental health, to change the way we're functioning, then we're going to continue to hurt and harm ourselves and those in our lives that we love. So we are talking about mental fitness versus mental wellness. Now, oftentimes when I listen to a lot of famous celebrities, okay, I can call names, for example, sporting enthusiasts. You may know some of these names. When you talk about a LeBron James, when you talk about Kobe, who is no longer with us, when we listen to an interview from a Cristiano Ronaldo, when we listen to an interview from a Lionel Messi, all these guys, they speak a lot about, their approach to the game. Okay, they speak about how much time they spend in preparation. Years ago, not maybe a couple of years ago, I interviewed Dr. Gregory Horton, who he himself is an Olympian, and he shared how he created that mental fitness to prepare to run his race. All right. And when we look right around, we see different guys. We listen to in Canada, we listen to like a Connor McDavid. We listen to some of the players as they're interviewed after they would have played in a game. And they all make reference to the mindset that they had going in. All right. We listen to interviews, and we see different displays from different men who have really spoken highly of the fact that, mentally, I had to do some preparation in order for me to be successful. When we talk to, marathon persons who participate in marathons, or triathlons or 10Ks, and they all speak about this mental fitness, grasping the capacity to have what I call stick to itiveness as they participate in that which is going to help them get to their goals. When we talk to tradesmen, we hear them speak of, going in. I have a good friend who, he works with electricity. He's an electrician, very talented electrician. And, sometimes when we engage in conversation, he talks about the mindset that he has when he goes into a room where there is high voltage, talking about like 6,000 watts or so on. And so all of these persons, whether you're in, the trades or not, it requires a certain mental fitness. When we talk to CEOs, all right, when we talk to pastors or priests, when we talk to community leaders, when we talk to managers, there's this space where there needs to be a mental fitness that helps you to get the job done, to get you to your goal. And having mental fitness is an asset. And all of us as men should somehow seek to thrive, to aspire to have this mental fitness, because mental fitness is a necessary asset that we need to have as men if we are going to achieve some goals. Okay, mental fitness is what gives us the edge, and helps us to be a cut above the rest as we engage more and more in growing and developing. But there's also mental wellness. And let me say this to you guys, they are not the same. They somehow intertwine, but they are not the same. So what is mental wellness? Mental wellness now, guys, is when we take it to the next level. Let me tell you what I mean. Mental fitness is something that we may only access for a period of time. But mental wellness is something that we need to activate ongoing. Did you catch it? Let me say it to you again, guys, because I want us to get this right. Mental fitness is not the same as mental wellness, though they intertwine. Mental fitness is something that we may need to last for a moment. For example, you're going into play, you have a big game, right? The team get together, they have that pep talk from the coach. They shout the name of the team, they roar, they get excited, right? They go out, in the field, and in their minds, they're like, it's like that they put on their game faces, and they are empowered. They're tuned up. They're geared. They're in sync. That's mental fitness. But when the game is over, they come back down to earth. All right, that's a temporary phase. Mental wellness now, guys, is something that is consistent and ongoing. Mental wellness, guys, is something that as men we need to develop more of. Mental wellness is what helps us to understand the value of setting boundaries. Mental wellness is what helps us as men to understand the importance of not being abusive to ourselves or to others. Mental wellness is what gives us the edge that helps us to be able to step away from the mundane and mediocre and start working aggressively on healing from trauma, healing from low self-worth, healing from self-sabotaging, healing and moving into a new realm of existence, and moving away from just merely existing to actually start living. So, it's two different things. And many of us as men, we have to move away from this idea where we are ignoring to participate or to practice mental wellness. I've seen it so often. I've seen leaders who, yes, they may be mental fitness may be there, but we can see that their mental wellness is out of sync. How? Look at the way they relate. Look at how they conduct themselves. Sometimes there are leaders who they're not recognizing that their mental wellness is out of sync. So you can see that and recognize that in their behaviors. So I want to read a quote that Marcus Garvey said. He said this years ago, and Bob Marley made it more popular. And those who are here on the live, you may know the quote. And I want to borrow this quote from Garvey, right? And I wish I could sing like Marley, right? But he said this. He said this in his song: "Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds." That's not mental fitness, that's mental wellness. And as men, we have to capture the reality that my mental health, your mental health, is your responsibility. So creating or practicing good mental wellness starts with you taking ownership of what needs to be different, you recognizing the reality that it's because my mental wellness is out of sync why I am not managing as good as I ought. Now let me give you another example. You can have mental fitness. You can be the star player in the team. You can be the star player at work. You can be the guy who gets the job done. You don't miss a mark. You're consistent. But that is not an indication that your mental wellness or your mental health is where it's supposed to be. I remember last year, I'm not remembering his name, but he's one of those royals, and he came and he tried to use the politically correct language, and he said, hey, we want to move away from saying mental health to mental wellness. Now, respectfully, guys, as men, we have to stop, this trying to be politically rather correct, because that is not going to help us to address the issue. The issue is not whether we're politically correct or not. The issue, guys, is that as men, we have to start addressing it. We have to start confronting it. We have to start making room as men to talk about our mental health. And for those who may feel, okay, I don't want to talk about mental health. Okay, let me use the politically correct language for you. Let's talk about mental wellness. Listen, guys, I'm saying this. We've got to move away from this idea. Culture, culturally and societally, guys, we have to move away from being entrapped in these social constructs. They are harming us psychologically and emotionally. It's preventing us as men from growing up. That's why, guys, many of us as men, we're still stuck in our juvenile mindset, right? And when our mental wellness is in that right space, our juvenile mindset will change. We'll have less tantrums. We'll try to be less controlling. We'll be better able to connect. We will not be in that space where we're constantly trying to find ourselves. We will not be jumping from relationship to relationship. And guys, let me say this to you. Good mental wellness is what's going to help you as a man to be stable and committed and stay in tuned in your relationship. A man whose mental wellness is out of sync, if you're that guy who you feel, hey, I'm cool because I have several relationships on the go, guys, I'm going to tell you this right now. You have a problem, man. Right? And I know some of you on here, you may jump out of the chat right now. Hey, that's up to you. But I'm saying that if you're that guy who you have several different partners, several relationships on the go, you have a problem. Your mental health is not where it's supposed to be. It's a self-esteem issue. You have a problem and you have to address it, right? You have to reclaim your identity and recognize that your worth as a man is not identified or not concretized by the amount of partners that you have on the go. It's actually a sign of insecurity. It's a sign that you're lacking and you're constantly trying to prove yourself to yourself that you are good enough. When your mental wellness is in the right space, men, I'm speaking directly to you, you will not be that guy. You don't want to be that guy. One of our well-known artists from the Caribbean, you guys may know Beanie Man. He said that, uh, do you want to be that guy? Are you that guy? Because if you're that guy, you have a problem, and you need to address that problem. So that's what we're talking about as it relates to mental wellness, right? It's not the same as mental fitness. But if we are able now, guys, to create or nurture or have a reasonable, and I wouldn't even say balance, because here's the thing, guys, when your mental wellness is where it's supposed to be, mental fitness is not something that you have to sort of get a pep talk to achieve. It's automatic, right? But if you are someone who is mentally fit, it does not necessarily mean that you're mentally well. Right? So I want you to catch this, guys. I want you to catch this. If you are mentally fit, it does not mean you're mentally well, because you can be mentally fit and you struggle with anxiety. You can be mentally fit and you struggle with depression. You can be mentally fit and you struggle with low self-worth. You can be mentally fit and you are self-harming. You can be mentally fit and you're isolating. You're second guessing yourself. So mental fitness does not determine mental wellness. And as men, we have to recognize that if we are working on being mentally well, mental wellness, mental health supersedes mental fitness. So I want you to capture this, guys, that mental wellness is an important asset to acquire in order to achieve good mental fitness. All right. So you can be mentally fit, but that's a temporary journey. Remember this, guys. And I say this to you: personal development is not an event, it's a lifestyle. So as you engage in this lifestyle, your mental wellness, your mental health will be more effective, and you will continue to grow. You'll continue to experience growth as your mental wellness is attended to more frequently than not. So the important piece that I want us to capture today as we go off into the weekend is that your mental health is your responsibility. I want you to reiterate that, right? Your mental health is your responsibility. I want you to come out of the surface level of your journey and dive into the depth of your experience. Okay? So I want you to capture it. Get out of the surface level of your existence and dive into the depth of your experience. Because this is what is required for us as men to grow, to evolve, and to not just be existing, but actually living. And this is what it takes. So your mental health is important, and it takes a lot of attention, it takes a lot of consistency, and it takes a lot of determination in order to let your mental health come to where it's supposed to be. So as you go off into the weekend, I want to put a challenge to you. As you go off into the weekend, this weekend, I would like you guys, I would like you to give yourself at least 15 minutes. I don't know what you have planned. I'd like you to give yourself at least 15 minutes to write out some sort of a mantra for yourself. Write out an encouraging thought for yourself, something that you're going to use as a platform that's going to be like a reminder, something that's going to give you that how do I say it, that platform that you're going to stand on to say, hey, you know what, from this day forward, my mental health is going to be my main priority. Can you say that? From this day forward, my mental health is going to be my main priority. Listen, guys, I'm telling you this right now. I'm telling you this right now. When your mental health is in the right place, you'll better learn how to deal with challenges. When your mental health is in the right place, you'll be a healthy partner for somebody. When your mental health is in the right place, you'll be able to stand up amidst the wave and the turmoils of life. When your mental health is in the right place, I am telling you this right now, you will be extraordinary. Are you tired of being ordinary? Are you tired of just being, hey, I'm just here, right? I'm just a fly on the wall. Are you tired of just going through the motion of life? I'm saying when your mental health is in the right place, your confidence level will go up. When your mental health is in the right place, you will be a better leader in your relationship for your kids. When your mental health is in the right place, guys, I am telling you, it will show on the outside because the energy, the life, the vibe on the inside will start showing up. on the outside. So this is my encouragement. This is my challenge to you guys, right? Just before, I say my next point, I just want to, remind you that you're in tune to the XY Spark podcast, the podcast for men, where we seek to normalize conversations about men's mental health, where we seek to create a safe space for men to talk about their mental health. Why? Because we know that mental health is not a myth. And our goal or aim is to break the stamina of the stigma about men's mental health. But the stigma around men's mental health cannot and will not be broken unless we continue to have these conversations, which is why every weekday morning at 5:30 a.m., we are here live on the podcast just to create a safe space for you. We also offer live life coaching calls here in the moment. If you would like to hear more episodes like these, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at XY Spark. You can also follow us on the Podbean app. It's xyspark.podbean.com. You can join, you can subscribe, you can like, you can download more episodes on the Podbean app. You can also find us on TikTok, on Instagram, as you continue to hear more and gain more insight about what you can do to preserve your mental health. And so, mental fitness versus mental wellness, are they the same? No. One, we may only need that momentarily, but the second is something that we need to have consistently, and it needs to be ongoing, right? It can't be an afterthought. It needs to be attended to. We need to, attend to it with urgency. Right now, guys, as men, our mental health is in need of emergency attention. Our mental health need CPR. When we start attending to our mental health more as men, guys, I'm telling you this, we will save a life. We will save a life. You will save your life. I will save my life. Suicide rates will go down. More kids will celebrate having a healthy father around. More women will celebrate having a healthy partner around. More siblings will celebrate having a healthy brother around. More communities will celebrate having a good role model and mentor around. More teams, more sports teams will celebrate still having their key player around. And I'm saying more schools, more universities, more things will start happening that's positive. When I looked in the news just recently, I saw tons of men, young men, who are not doing anything or going anywhere with their lives. When I saw a news report in Toronto of young men who are involved in really unhealthy, lifestyle, being in the gangs and drugs and all that stuff. And I'm saying here are some young men whose lives is missing direction because they're searching for something. They're lacking in something. And that lack, they think they can find it in these places. But I'm saying that when, as men, we start stepping up and attending to our mental health, some of these young men who are there, who are distracted, who are in a place of, confusion, they will seek to find an alternative. And sometimes some of these young men, why they do the things they do is because they don't think there's any alternatives. Okay? And it's a mental health issue. That's why the incarceration level is so high in some ethnicities than others. That's why the drug rate and the overdose is so high, right? Right now, in many provinces in Canada, we're practicing harm reduction. We're trying to save the lives of so much men and women who are addicted to drugs, right? That's why they use, methamphetamine, and all these hard drugs. So many men are hooked on these drugs, and women too, right? But we're talking about the men here, and it's because their mental health. They experience something painful, they experience something traumatic, and they have not been bold enough to talk about it. So they choose to harm themselves. They choose to hurt themselves. And we're saying, as men, guys, if we are able to create more safe spaces for more men to talk about their mental health, we will change the landscape of our existence. This is your boy, your men's life coach, Rolando. You have been in tune to the XY Spark podcast, the podcast for men. We will be here again next Monday at 5:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, where we continue our conversations about men's mental health and wellness. Please, guys, like, share, and subscribe. We just want to say we appreciate you. Thank you to all the ladies who come into the space from time to time to listening to what's going on here on the podcast. And ladies, if you are here, tell your brother, tell your father, tell, you may have a friend who has a partner who's struggling. Tell them to come to the podcast here. We want to create a tribe of men who are not ashamed, who are not scared to say, hey, I'm struggling. I need help. What can we do? Thank you. It's great to see you. Have a great weekend and take care of yourselves. And as you go, please remember that at XY Spark, we believe that there is a spark in you. We will see you again next week. Be safe.